Yo, my name is Silvokiji, and welcome to the Zone Gaming Go. As you know, the Zone Gaming Go can be found on YouTube by typing in the Zone Gaming Go or the Zone Gaming Go Silvokiji&Rohawk. Or you can just simply just do the Zone Gaming Go, or you can type in any of our names or anybody in the community, and we will pop up. Today, I'm here with Rohawk doing episode 3 of Meta News. Say hello, Rohawk.
Hello, everyone. Yeah.
Today's episode is going to be called Vital Anchors. Now, if you didn't know what an anchor character is, anchors are pretty much linked to a lot of team-based games that exist. Skullgirls, Dragon Ball Z Fighters, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and 3. I believe what else has it? You know, whatever, I don't care. So basically what an anchor is a type of character that is supposed to carry the game for you, or someone that actually you are more comfortable with going with in terms of battle. This can actually differ from player to player, but most of the time we have a pretty good common anchor setup between different players. Now what we're going to talk about here is the main meta anchors you will casually see in the tournaments for the 8-man coming up June 3rd or July 3rd, as well the other tournament on July 31st. We will also show you a second wave, which are characters that used to be anchors, but kind of dived a little bit when Season 4 actually started up. And then characters that we are actually anticipating are going to make it to a more anchorish status in the 8-man or 16-man. That doesn't necessarily mean they're popular, it just means that it's something that we anticipate seeing in those two tournaments. Okay, so before we actually prepared this video, me and Rohawk actually were able to write down a couple of anchors that we can think of here, and we got them down to 9 different ones for our first, second, and third phase. We're going to start with the first phase for you guys, and we've actually talked about this first character here back in episode 2 of Meta News, Whitebeard. Now, as me and Rohawk already discussed about prior to the video, we talked about how Whitebeard is a very common anchor character, usually used to do the big damage in the combos with his Sequake, or something, not Sequake, but Oscillating Throw, as well as his Sequake combos ending in a lot of 100% potential kills. He was previously overtaken by Garp in the meta during Season 3 and Season 2 and Season 1, but as Garp declined, Whitebeard took his spot as being one of the few characters that can actually knock his ass as special movement status. Usually it's those giant swings and everything, whatnot. So with Whitebeard actually being like that, he's able to cause huge damage with his Conqueror's Haki, and therefore like push his opponents back and actually kind of signal characters they need to take out first. Usually that revolves around the point character being destroyed immediately because of Whitebeard. Anything you need to say, Rock?
Well, I should but like honestly, I think he's like pretty. Like, he's very difficult to actually play as when he's by himself. With a team, he can actually get access to his damage pretty easily, actually. Usually done after a Unity Chain or with a Unity Chain or something like that.
Yeah,
I think you already said that, right?
So like when Whitebeard is by himself as an anchor, it is a pretty fishy situation depending on who he's fighting against. Like we discussed that in the second character in the list, Marco, he has a very difficult time against that, and any fast character in general that can actually beat him out of his Hilbert strikes does a really good job against him. Like he was overtaken by a lot of characters. There are points like Mihawk, there's Buggy, even Perona basically kind of put him in a tough situation because of that 1v1 situation. So generally when people have Whitebeard as an anchor, they try their best not to let anyone get close to Whitebeard, or he's pretty much washed up.
Yeah, because his Bacento gives him extra reach, so other players have to actually be able to get closer, while Whitebeard could actually just do it at a distance. Also, he actually also has a, I think, very good stalemate. How do I say it? Like, stalemate? He can make everyone stalemate except, like, Loki ties, pretty much.
That's right. You're talking about his Sequake, where he can make he can tie games.
Yeah, he can tie games. He can actually stop people from doing their stuff, make it easier to get closer to range attacks, which also is also included with his Conqueror's Haki as well, so... Even though he can be ranged to death, he has actually an easier access to actually get closer to range type characters than some characters that have the same weakness.
Yeah. Valid point. Next character here is Marco. So Marco, a 3K speed character. Now, Marco is the go-to speedy demon of One Piece Fire and Blood. Rush down heavy. Now, this will all be fine and dandy. Like, he can get away from you. He can heal. So he has great fatality. He can basically beat everybody in attack speed. There's only one huge problem with Marco, though. As an anchor, his damage is ass. His damage is so bad. And with a lot of players now running defense support as well as Sento support, oh my gosh. Ooh.
Even his most powerful combo does about 30%. With Sento, it's probably like around 20. So
yeah, that's really bad. You had to rely on heavy guard breaks at that point. But as a tire, he does work really well. I do feel like eventually that Marco is not going to be the anchorish character we got so used to seeing him back in the early season 4 as well as season 3 and 2. He's generally being used to be on the back lines for that jump unique. So the fact that he even is an anchor in terms of, like, you know, numbers could possibly because he's only accidentally been put into that role.
Yeah, it's because of that move is actually super fast and can cash in a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta also keep in mind that Marco is extremely hard to catch because of how he can fly around, heal, and stuff like that, yeah? So he can slowly chip you down, or he can also easily tie a game as well.
But if he's paired off against characters like Blackbeard, Jinbei, Frankie, or even Ace, I say Ace because of the fire gun barrage thing, it proves to be very hard for Marco to fight those characters. Marco is a very nitpicky character that basically just focuses down on other characters. Like, if you get a person in a corner, you can pretty much beat him up with Marco, but you have to figure out how you're going to get there. Because that can be a major problem, especially if you guys start off at the center part of the field.
Yeah, but he does have a workaround with that if you can actually do it correctly, which is his counter, which activates if he hits a projectile. So he's immune whenever it activates by a projectile, so he can actually get to the character.
That is true. That's a very valid point. He does have an anti-projectile move. So something that we also got to notice here between, like, the anchors and everything is that a lot of these characters, or a lot of the characters you're going to see that we're going to name meta, are characters that can deal with projectiles in some sort of way. And that's, well, until we get to the third character there. Never mind, let me change my time. Blackbeard.
Well, we'll talk about him. He does have ways, but
you have to stop your talking.
I mean, we're not on him right now. So.
Yeah, we're done. We're done on Marco. He's over. I already moved down to Blackbeard.
So yeah, speaking about that, yes, he has like I think he has like 2 ways at best, honestly, to actually be able to beat out the range game.
Who, Marco or Blackbeard?
Blackbeard. Which will be his special movement, and Seaquake, which is the same thing that
is true.
Whitebeard has. Yes.
Something that Dome gave me or told me about, or it was Poetic or Dome, one of them. I can't remember. They said that if you do special movement, you can sidestep.
Yes, you can sidestep. You can do guard break. You can do heavy guard break, which is the funny part as well. But
so because it's like a cancellation. Okay. So like the thing about Blackbeard, though, is that a lot of the range characters in this game, or majority of range characters in this game, are Delphi characters. So if Blackbeard does manage to get the touch on any of those characters at the start of a 1v1 or anchor battle, because anchors v anchors are so cool. I love 1v1 fights when they get to that point. It's so cool. But if he gets to that point, right, Blackbeard is able to keep the battle in his favor, because you got to remember too, it's not like Jinbei, it's not like who's the other guy that can do that, Garp, where they have like one or two moves that can do it. Blackbeard can literally do it almost everything, and his swing attack or his range attack is free because it's super fast, goes over the opponent, they try to go for a dive, and works as a sort of anti-air. So if he's able to get those hits on a range-based player or character, then he can pretty much close the game in some way, basically abusing with his guard break, forcing him to jump repeatedly. But the only issue with that is that unlike Whitebeard and Marco Anchor, he's going to struggle a little bit when he actually gets away from the range-based character. Like if he fights against someone like Gecko, he's screwed. That's done. You're done.
Yeah, but once it gets close in certain like cases like those,
He gets close.
Like for example, like Marco or Gecko, he can take away their abilities, and then Blackbeard has pretty much like
a lot of it has to do with if Blackbeard can get the touch. If he can actually get it, then it's okay. So something that people have to keep in mind when they're playing as these characters is when you're playing and when you're in that situation where your last character is coming in, do not respect your opponent unless you really have to. What I mean is that if your opponent is doing something, you don't be like, I'm just gonna sit there and block. No. Hit him if you have an opportunity.
What they say, what he means is that you beat the shit out of them.
Now, something I want to mention to you guys, that if you have an anchor on your team that is someone that you rely on at the end, let me tell you a little bit about this here. So when you're actually playing through anchor, most people at the very beginning use the hero support, which attack increases each time an ally falls. It gives you +2 every time an ally actually does die. So this makes characters like Marco, who are generally very slow, like weak in power, have a +4 at the end when you actually get to that point. Characters like Aki Inu can become massively strong at +4 with their base combo dealing over 70%. Something else to mention is Nahiko support. Nahiko increases the length of time for an awakening. So if you have your last character, you got a full bar of burning gauge, do Nahiko support, you get extra 10 seconds. It might not seem like a lot, but it's a whole bunch. Because if you're running someone like Luffy 3K, Gecko, or anybody like that, getting that +10 will give you that big form for 10 more seconds so you can do more shit. It works a lot better than what you expect. Something else to also notify here, if you're wondering about other anchor supporting support, well, we have the we have the Garp support, which is very good to use against characters that if you're lacking a decent person to get rid of ranged characters, then Garp support will kind of help you. Wifer support will help you if you have a fast character in your team that can actually get the hits a little bit more, or if you are really desperate, then you can always run Sento or Lafetti to help you out and would deal with those ranged type characters and anything.
Lebone and Kairos, I guess those are the more popular ones, actually, to be honest. If you choose one.
Yeah, LeBron giving you +2 for defenses will also help you as well. And but that's generally for like if you're running. Well, I guess that is kind of the same concept. You're fighting against a team that you don't really know how to contest against. Okay, so skip that. Oh, there is a Burgess breakdown video, man. Pure Bond. There is already a Burgess breakdown video.
Oh yeah, you already made a Burgess video. Yes, yes.
There's already a Burgess video made. Okay, so those are just the top 3 common anchors that we see in the Season 4 meta. These are not all the anchors that we have seen, only the ones that we kind of feel that show up the most, Okay? Next up, we have the second phase. These are anchors that actually showed up a lot towards Season 1 and Season 3, Season 2, but we are not really seeing them used in anchor status. Like we might be still seeing as characters. We're just not seeing their purpose as it once was. Right. I know people are looking at this like, where the hell is Mihawk? Well, I didn't think about that until now, so do something else.
Mihawk is a very difficult question not to make him an anchor, though.
Usually, I can see Mihawk running point and mid guard. I guess
the reason I wouldn't make him an anchor is because he's too mixed. He's too much of a mix-up character. I feel like you have to try toward.
No, kind of like Lucci, too much mix-heavy character. I mean, kind of makes Lucci work though, so I'm not gonna really complain about that one.
He makes him work very well.
Okay, so primary reason why Luffy 3K is previous anchor, was an anchor, is because the dude is massively just engaging. Like he's very engaging for players to play as the character. They do a casual punch, range attack. Down you need knock him in the air, walk up, Red Hawk, and it does an easy 40%, 50%. I think it's 50% damaging combo right there.
Yes.
Like easy as pie. Now the only issue that people have with Luffy 3K back in the past is too predictable. There's been a lot of situations where I have seen him dominate in season 1 and 2, but what was the main issue was that he became so predictable how people used him that they just sidestepped and backstepped all of his shit.
Actually, honestly though, because it's funny because he's actually, I think he's actually pretty versatile character, but
he
I
is.
guess but the thing is, I guess people do play him in the same way every single time. I guess. So
let's not forget that when Luffy was declining, this is the same same thing happened to Garp. It was also because of characters like he was noticing that he was losing in the mid-range game a lot. We see people like Marco beat out Luffy or couldn't hit him. Ace, Smoker, the way that Whitebeard actually played beat out Luffy. And we've seen more versatile Luffys, or when they actually do like using jump attacks and stuff, but it wasn't happening as much for most players. Most players just did, like I told you, like that casual setup. Mario does use Luffy in an unconventional way, and we have seen the character used by people like Geo Sasson and Ronoro. Primarily it is in his burst effect, in his awakening. So his awakening is when he goes into gear 4, and people have used this as a way to protect them for a lot of damage possibilities. So if you're about to get hit, go into your awakening, do your ultimate, and bam. So that's one of the primary reasons that we saw him come back, because back then Luffy 3Ks didn't do that. That wasn't happening back then. It started happening a lot in casuals and stuff like that. But the reason I believe he declined is because people just either ran for Whitebeard, but Luffy's not bad. He's very versatile. Has a lot of shit. It's just that he's too predictable right now, in my opinion. You gotta mix it up. You're gonna have to learn different buttons. You can't just. The only reason people picked him before was because of that combo, but you gotta do different stuff with him now. You gotta switch it up. You gotta mix it up.
Yeah, switching it for Whitebeard, I would also think that because people switch to Whitebeard is because of that easy access damage. It's just like less effort to do damage. You don't have to do as much combos with Whitebeard.
Yep.
So yeah, and you don't have to worry about drops as much either. So that's a thing. Like we always say, drops save lives.
Especially with Luffy 3K, they sure do. Well, also another thing too, it could also be because of lag, because Luffy 3K and lag is horrendous.
Yeah,
drops everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I can see that, especially when you like some of his combos do actually like are quick timed or in the air. I can totally see that. I
will say though, he does more consistent damage than most of the characters in this game, but most of the 3Ks anyway. But against Logias, very very good counter against Logia based characters, because all of his special moves as well as his down unique are all hockey imbued.
But unlike a Whitebeard, I honestly think Luffy 3K actually just has less weaknesses and more versatility. So it's actually probably better to use Luffy overall in some cases.
Yeah, I will say though, one of the most difficult things about Luffy 3K though is that he's very difficult to get in with, and basically that. He also can use some of his combos even without having Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah, as well. Even though his ability is taken away. Wait, I think he's still No, we can't. Actually, never mind.
Yeah, but well, sorry, we spent a lot of time on Luffy 3K, but yeah, he's in decline. We don't see a lot of Luffy 3Ks. Yeah. So Shanks. Now, Shanks is a mixed race. The reason Shanks has probably been in decline as far as meta, I'm not saying he's been in decline like he's just not popular. It's just because of the lack of Shanks players nowadays. Popping up. We had a lot of Shanks popping up in season 1, 2, and 3. But in season 4, we still have prominent Shanks players. It's just that even they are playing with Shanks strong style, and going with other versatile Kagesakas. I believe people even switched out Shanks for Gear 4 Luffy. I think Geo Sasson actually does that sometimes. He switches out Shanks for Gear 4 Luffy.
I can understand. For Shanks, I think Shanks strong style and certain combos can actually do more damage, actually, and it can end it, actually.
That is true. Shanks strong style actually can deal more damage, I believe, overall than Shanks. It's just that Shanks actually can focus on close combat and mix-up game because of his counter and because of his stab. And everything actually works pretty well, being a range move and everything. So it's like, I think this Shanks is more close range, and Shanks strong style is more far distance wise, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it actually covers the main weakness of Shanks that has nothing that can deal with arrangements is besides a special movement and just Conqueror's Haki, necessarily speaking.
Now,
and his stab, but still.
When Shanks was introduced, he popped up using his deadly flash counter tactics. Slowly but surely, when people like moi started bitch slapping him in the air with certain characters, I'm not saying I started that. I'm just saying he started. We stopped seeing Shanks.
Yeah, we certainly did. All right.
Yeah, it's just he kind of went down because people noticed that it's easier to start combos against Shanks from the air than it is from the ground. And primarily focus him with different mid-range combat. So characters that actually had very good mid-range or long-range game will do very well against Shanks compared to close-range characters.
I honestly think I like to see how Shanks is rather not a person that you use at the front, but more like an extender of a combo. I
can see that him being a mid guard, being a character that's in the middle or most attacks, or being a character in combos, right? Yeah, he just ends the combos and leaves.
Yep, he's the staples. He's the staple.
Okay, guys. Next up is Garp. Now, I know a lot of you loathe this character, hate this character to no end, but I want to tell you right now, this character has declined so much. We used to see Garps everywhere. I think in the tournament we had like 1, 2, maybe 1 or 2.
Just 2.
We had 2. Usually we have like what, 7?
Yeah, there's only really 2. Yeah.
Now, this also stems from what we talked about with Luffy 3K, how Whitebeard became prominent in most teams. And also how people were starting to learn more about, because like I started educating people about Garp special movement, how it actually works, and people start reacting to it like it was a Conqueror's Haki, because when you do special movement, you lower your bar, and they would actually play a mind game. They'll take those special movements, and then when your opponent has like a little bit of ability bar left, they're like, "What you gonna do now? What you gonna do now, huh? Grab, sidestep, and they'll punish Garp." And it was happening a lot. We have noticed that even now, Garp is always first character to die. People had him as a point character for many months, but he is still now the first character to die. We slowly started seeing that too. How people started maneuvering around Garp. Crocodile, Vachito, Alfie just started finding ways to get the character out of the way, and that's because people rely so much on special movement they didn't actually absorb some of Garp's strengths. Like we know that that Mario plays as Garp, but he actually universally has Garp. He actually played as the character to the point where he knows what he can and cannot do. I know you're the same way. You're a Garp player as well. You also do more than the special movement in most cases. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with being dependent on that, because if that's how you do the links to your combos, then all for it. We're just saying that in case of a 1v1 situation, because you need to be more versatile with your character in order to actually do things and mix your opponent up. You don't want to be too obvious, because that's when I mentioned before that characters like Boa Hancock, Gekko Mariah, and Lucci are able to actually... Not Lucci. Who's the other character?
Lucci?
Well, it was Gekko, Boa, Garp. Yeah, other Garps. And other Garps could flash guard you. Could actually flash guard you and basically do their flash guard. So if Gekko flash guards Garp, which is very easy on special movement, teleports away, hits you with a combo. Boa Hancock freezes you. Garp will freeze you in a way. So it's just that you have different possibilities there, and that's why the Rebecca support. Where's Rebecca support? Where are you? Rebecca support does so well in the Garp situation, as well as Orlong. We noticed that when people pop Rebecca support or have Orlong, people try to back away because they're like, oh shit, we're not dealing with that. And then another major issue with Garp is that he gets pelted by ranged attacks. And we started seeing that more often as well.
He gets pelted by range attacks. He also can be beaten by Marco, period, actually, or any really speed character, honestly. So that's another thing as well. I think Garp, I think we already discussed that he's actually, Garp is also very weak in his jumps, especially when he uses his special movement.
Yeah, because the back, he has to actually physically stop it and turn around. Yeah.
And because of Marco, and certain of his moves can actually interrupt in the middle of it, so Garp cannot challenge Marco in like a speed battle or anything kind of battle, honestly.
Yeah, and let me mention again, guys, that this is not telling you that these guys are worse than they were before. We're just saying what people have actually, like what we've seen from the meta and everything, that the transition is there. It's visually there. What actually happened to these three characters and what they actually went through. Now, will they come back? Yeah, I mean, they're not gone. They're not gone completely. Because here's the thing: Garp can still fight Blackbeard. Shanks can still fight Marco. Luffy 3K can still fight like Whitebeard and Blackbeard and Marco. They can still do this. A character can have a whole bunch of bad matchups, and the one good matchup they have could be like the meta.
But do keep in mind, just because it's a like counter pick or they're weak against these kind of things does not mean they're gonna lose. Okay, I just want to clarify that. That's
a very good thing to mention. Yes. Okay. Next up, Phase 3, last phase. Characters that we are anticipating are going to rise up towards the end of Season 4. We're having 2 tournaments, July 3rd, the 8-man, and July 31st, the 16-man. Fortune has already approved of his participation in July 3rd tournament, which I'm like, yes! So he's already in there. And we already have about 7 other people registered completely for the 16-man. Now, here's the thing. I say register completely, but I still have names on the list that just have to do the first to 5. It might not be on YouTube yet, but I'm keeping track of everybody. So if you're... The 16-man right now is full. I just have to do registration matches. So 7 people have already done them now. So let's talk about the first character upcoming, Zoro. We seen this guy everywhere. I remember back then we saw shit about this character. We was talking all this stuff about this character. We were saying before that, man, who would use Zoro? Like, why is this power character so weak?
I wouldn't call him weak. He's actually really strong. He's just as hard to actually do it.
Now, before I was just like, I don't think that strong as heavy guard break. But what we learned about Zoro shortly is that Zoro. It's because of Garp, because we looked at Garp. Garp is a power character that relies on combos, and Zoro is a power character that relies on combos. And yes. I didn't know that you utilize his heavy guard break multiple ways. Like, for instance, the twister that he does, you can actually walk up in the twister, do his heavy guard break, and catch the person falling down. So stuff like that works really well on him, and also you always have to respect the Twister because of all the damage it also gives. It shreds Logia-based characters, and this character is being used by T-Baz. Alpha the King is also using this character, and I believe Vegeta uses this character on some occasions. We also got TMS using Zoro. Shaheem uses Zoro. Sometimes Shaheem uses Zoro Shura, so it's kind of mixtured. Most people who pick Zoro usually have Zoro Shura, but here's the funny thing: most people that pick Zoro Shura personally do not play Zoro. So Alpha the King might play Zoro Shura, but I don't think he actually plays Zoro, so let me take that back.
Yeah, the two characters are pretty different from each other. They do both have different moves that the other does not have, even though they are similar in certain ways.
And let's all discuss that Zoro has 200%, and he has one of the strongest moves in the game, 3,000 Worlds.
Which does legit 1/3 of your HP.
That move is strong. And then when you get Awakening, woo!
It's as strong as Burgess' grab.
Yeah, but more. It can cause a 1% combo. You get someone with 3,000 Worlds, Ultimate Wrathors, they're dead. You hit someone with the heavy guard break, 3,000 Worlds, they're dead.
I think the another thing is why his damage is so hard to get is because he's a counter character as well.
I can see that. He's basically like opponent fails and then he kind of takes over because of that.
Yeah, he can fight, but he can also react to his opponents as well. So that's another thing.
Do I think it's ever going to be a Brain Blood 2? No, I do not. I think that is far too lax. There's not going to be a Brain Blood 2, sadly. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and skip Gear 4 Luffy and come back to him because I kind of want to talk about Sanji first.
Yes.
So Sanji, character primarily used by Vegito in Season 1, not Season 2. He took a break in Season 3, and now we're in Season 4. Kusuke's here playing as Sanji, and oh my goodness. And T-Bass has played as him in casuals. Will he use him in a tournament? I'm not sure. Sanji has proven to be a devastating force, especially with that jump unique button he actually has. It does so much damage for no freaking reason. Him and Bustu Bankai got the strongest jump unique in the game. For no reason. I don't know what
they are both heavy characters. They both use legs, but
got these legs. They do the little whirlwind, and it's just like it is. Then I feel like it's just safe, and it's a cross up.
They're also one of the two freest characters.
Yes, you will notice a huge speed difference when you're playing as Sanji compared to other characters. You feel like you can move anywhere. I don't know what it is. I don't know what makes him different to play with, considered that, like, you know, when you're playing as Kid or Nami, but he feels like he is so free.
He is a close combat expert, except when range moves happen, and there's nothing.
Yeah, he actually does decline in range combat, and they'll kind of beat him out. Gekka Moaya can also beat him out too. He's notable for not winning against any of the admirals. All the admirals can pretty much beat him out. The thing about it, because he does have a counter that gives him armor, which works really well if he's being rushed. So he can be an anti-rush. So it also works against Garp as well. So when Garp uses special movement, he can actually just kick him in the air instead. The only thing that makes it so he's the rising star and most people don't pick him is because of his girl policy or woman. He doesn't hit women. And notably, back in season 1 through 3, one of the main characters being used in the meta at the time, one of the top 5, was actually Boa Hancock. And so she popped up in multiple teams and tournaments, and so Sanji was like, So most people didn't pick Sanji because Boa Hancock was more prominent in all the tournaments that she was in. But Boa Hancock actually started declining, and only people like Zoro0200, Kusuke, and Rob actually picks up the character naturally. And myself, when I'm playing as my Chopper team and everything. I believe I haven't used Chopper competitively though, so I'll skip that. So it's just one of those things that now that that's actually declining, I can see how Sanji's like, whoop. And on top of that, people like not Zoro Zero, but Kusuke and Kusuke and Zoro Zero, when they run Sanji and they're putting Boa Hancock on their team, they're actually giving Sanji +1. Now it's kind of funny how they're actually using Boa Hancock, even though she's the main freaking reason that he wasn't used a lot in the first place. But people like T-Bass is running the Koala as the female instead, and so that gives him an extra 500 points for support, and that usually revolves around Sanji running more of Johnny and Yusoka, and also probably going with Orc support. It also gives people like T-Baz more room to run Sento, so that way he can give Sanji +1000, as we'll get the +1 addition for the female, and then get a +1 from Johnny Yusoka, giving him a +2. Now if someone actually runs Kiros and Johnny Yusoka, by the end they can actually have a +6 Sanji, which a +6 Sanji, usually when you get hit by a basic combo, you're dead.
Honestly, for one of his more damaging combos, he could do 40%, and if you give him pluses, now that's a lot more, honestly.
He's the only character in this game that has a passive buff effect.
Oh yeah, and he also is the only. I think he's the only character that legit can actually attack in the air. Actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, he's the only character with a combo in the air.
Yes.
Skywalk.
Speaking about his kick that does a lot of damage, I think it's his jumping unique, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
It also causes the opponent to roll, which also makes it easier to do Conqueror's Haki combos, because when the opponent is rolling, you can pick him up with Conqueror's Haki and do other combos.
Yep, bringing that Whitebeard, bringing that. Well, actually, technically, it's not usually used with Whitebeard. It's usually used with Boa Hancock and Luffy 3K because they don't need their attacks coming in are actually flinch hits. and all of Whitebeard hits coming in are staggers, so they make the opponent drop anyway. But if you actually use Boa Hancock Luffy 3K, it's much easier to use with them. So usually it revolves around Luffy 3K coming in, doing some hits, switching out, then Sanji coming right back in after the pickup and continuing the combo, usually ending with a lot of damage. That's one of the reasons why Luffy 3K and Sanji have been paired with each other for so long. Some people still use this pair online and on ranked battles and casuals, but I don't think you've ever seen it in competitive tournaments for Zone Game Go.
Yes.
Now, take in mind, guys, that when we say competitiveness, we're only referring to the community, the Zone Game and Go. We're not referring to any other competitive scene that One Piece Burning Blood may or may not have. Okay, so we're primarily talking about the competitive scene for the Zone Game and Go. We have like over 70 different players, so, to do or what to do. So next up, we're going to talk about our last three-phase character. I know you guys are tired of hearing my voice, but Gear 4 Luffy. So Gear 4 Luffy, I want to tell you right now, is one of the most underused 3,000 point characters since the beginning of the tournament scene. I'm telling you, we have seen every 3K character used except Kaziru.
Yeah, except Kaziru.
Never mind. He's one. I did say he's one of them. I didn't say he is the, but he's one of the. Well, maybe I don't know, but yeah.
I'm never gonna see Kaziru that much, to be honest. But,
and he is one of the most underused 3K characters. I will tell you, from season 1 and 2, this character was never selected in a competitive tournament match, but he was selected in season 3 in the reign of Geo Sasson. Geo Sasson played as the character against, I believe, Mario, and ended up winning a match. He played against Rob and beat him with Gear 4 Luffy as well. So Gear 4 Luffy coming in really, really strong. Now, the strengths of Gear 4 Luffy is that he has automatic hockey for everything, which means Logia-based characters are like no worth. You don't have to do the mix-up against them. You're pretty much breaking it or you're not breaking it, basically. So this actually rose in difficulty for Aka Inu, who Aka Inu couldn't really compete against Gear 4 Luffy because Aka Inu was slow as hell. Characters like Kiji's Ice wasn't really that good also against Gear 4 Luffy because he was able to conquer his Haki it, and also his running attack was too fast for Kiji to actually keep up with. People had to rely mainly on characters like Marco, but even Marco going in the air with special movement will end up being broken by Conqueror's Haki. And if you have another Loki-based character that you can think of like Ace, that shit don't work either. Basically, Gear 4 Luffy shut down majority of the characters that are Logia-based characters. The only character that I can actually see that was Logia-based character that was able to actually fight Gear 4 Luffy without being just completely broken would probably be Sabo, and that's only because he has a move that doesn't require activation for Logia, and he doesn't need to rely on Flame Fist all that much, even though his damage would be completely nerfed when fighting against his character because he couldn't actually go for the mix-ups. But that's generally it. But the thing about Gear 4 Luffy as well is that he has the ever-changing hitbox. So while Luffy is actually being played, he will actually jump repeatedly. This actually does change his hurt box from the air into the ground. So certain characters like Koala will actually completely miss him sometimes with low kick because his hurt box changes. And
oh yeah, the Luffy effect, because he's different.
So that, and the thing too is like you have to also consider that this actually is not really Luffy. Don't mash the characters together. This is a power version. So this guy does a ton of damage, so much. He's generally uses the Ender. I don't really see Gear 4 and Whitebeard being on the same team. If they are on the same team, you are crazy and you shouldn't do that. There is no need. There is no need for Whitebeard and Gear 4 Luffy to be on the same team. But I will tell you right now that Gear 4 Luffy could deal out more damage than Whitebeard. There's a couple of vital weaknesses though. His auto combo is super slow. It's very easy to sidestep him. On another occasion, he is slowly dying. In order for Luffy Gear 4 to not die, you have to have the ability to blend pressed. Something that Rock was saying earlier, what were we talking about earlier about Gear 4 Luffy and one of the major weaknesses?
Major weakness? You mean like I know that one of the weaknesses is that first, I think he has what was it? That he actually has a harder time using his Kankazaki. He actually has said to take a break, I've heard. someone say about something about that?
Oh, that is true. So Gear 4 Luffy's Conqueror's Haki doesn't work the same way as other Conqueror's Haki characters. He can't repeatedly press it. It's like he's not experienced or something. I don't know. It's weird. It's like usually you can attack and then pop Conquerors and then pop it again. But for him, he can't. You have to wait. It's like he has delay when his Conqueror's Haki. You will think you're lagging, but you're not. You're not lagging. His combos are a lot tighter.
That's probably like a nerf they added to him, honestly, considering he has automatically Haki at all times.
And then another thing we need to mention is that because he's slowly dying in this game, combos that normally would do like some damage, you will still be damaged in the combo where you're getting hit. So you might be getting hit by 50% damage in combo, but by the end of that combo, you might be getting hit by at least 60%.
Yeah, but that can be mitigated as long as you keep on using your Conqueror's Haki abilities.
Which you know you're not. You know you're not. So generally when people run Gear for Luffy, or my idea running Gear for Luffy, is to perhaps run Dr. K so you're able to get that heal, or you can run Kea so also get that heal. Now also when you're playing as Gear for Luffy, you might want to keep him in the back so that way you don't just slowly, let him die. Sento is also a good example. Again, Sento got brought up one more time. Dash to play. So there you go, guys. We got the first phase, second phase, and third phase of the meta anchor type characters. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We really don't have anything else to say to you about the anchors or if anchors are vital. Now, anchors are actually, I said if anchors are vital. Anchors are vital. When you're making a team in One Piece Brand Blood, you need to think about your point, your guard, and your anchor character. If you're wondering what those are, I do have the roles of Silvokiji located in the tactical analysis video section of the Zone Gaming Go. So check that out. And you'll probably be able to see a lot of stuff that you didn't think about, where I talk about the different sorts of character types as well as the different types of roles. Yeah, okay. I think we're pretty much done with everything that we have to offer. I hope you guys enjoyed the Meta News video once again. I can't wait to see you guys for that tournament coming up and some more things that we're going to be doing. Until then, enjoy playing One Piece Burning Blood.
I'm sure they will.